Awesome. We're recording. Citrus, if you could tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, hi, my name is Citrus, also known as Chris Sauthoff. There's been lots of names for me, but Citrus seems to be the one that has stuck the most. Um, what do I do? I do my best. I do my best. I try hard. um, I am a musician and and a fencer. I like really what I like to do the most is music and sword play. That's my favorite stuff. And that's what I turned into my profession too.
Mhm.
So that's been a nice thing that I've been able to make money doing those things that I love. Um, Not lots of money, but it's okay. It's working. It's all right. And then I coach. I coach kids in fencing and
Uh-huh.
adults, and I teach people how to play music or how to express themselves a little bit. Um, those are the things I do. I keep fish. I really like fish. I have dogs. I always have kept dogs. I like to take walks in the morning. I do a lot of things. Do a lot of things.
Awesome. And I think I'm really excited about this talk because I just see you as someone who brings a lot of light in the world.
Oh, well,
Um, yeah, and I'm just really thankful for the experiences I've been able to have with you. Um, and I don't know where to go from there. Like even in the background, you have these beautiful like autumnal trees.
yeah,
Um,
it's that time of year, it's that time of year, and so I thought that would be a good one to have for us time in the Rockies to start looking at the trees color if they're there, if they're not burned away.
right,
I
right.
don't know if I'm ready to go and see the scars that are going to be up in my mountains right
Yeah.
now. So I'm
I'm
just
like,
holding on to them right here with this little screen. Like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna go see the Aspens up. Glenwood Canyon's gonna be a bust. There's no way I'm going up there. And then
yeah,
here, I'll think I'll just cry the whole.
yeah.
So I think I'll stay away from them for a minute. Um, that's really it's sad because I've been so happy the last few years have been kind of fire less fire, not no fire, but less
Yeah.
fire. And then this year started off really good, and then just, all that work is gone. All that growth is getting burnt up, and it's terribly sad. That,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, but I appreciate, and I want to say, like, your Facebook, like your selfies especially, like, there's just something about your smile or your face that, like, it brings light to my life. So a lot of
Oh my
times
gosh.
I feel strange in some kind of way, and I'll run across, just some picture of you and your selfie, and it might not even be like a big smile, but it's just like, it's just your soul, your spirit is showing through, and it's beautiful and it's luminous, and it makes me feel good. So it's nice to hear that from you, but I want to make sure that you know that a lot of times just your selfies, whether there's anything else, just your face and your smile, or not a smile. Sometimes you're very pensive and
Mm.
very vulnerable or whatever. And I just think the bravery that you show every day in those is really uplifting for me. And so I appreciate that stuff a
Well,
lot.
thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
think I think that has been kind of an exercise for me and like like self-worth, and also I got tired of people taking crappy pictures of me and posting them on the internet. So I'm like I'm going to do some things. So I don't.
Take control of this and post my own pictures. Yeah, how you see yourself, right?
Mhm.
Cool. That's cool. That's
So I want to talk with you a little bit too about like I mean you're a pretty zen person, like, and I feel like you bring this throughout all the things that you do. And then even with fencing, like there are these multiple disciplines, meditation, fencing, things like that, and I can kind of see how they could influence each other. But I was wondering if you could talk about that.
Well, sure. I mean, okay, so like Zen, right? Like you're either in Zen or you're not, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like either everything you do is Zen or nothing you do is Zen. There's no like, okay, I'm gonna meditate, and so I'm in Zen, and then I leave, and the meditation, and then I'm not gonna be that way anymore. That just doesn't fit. So everything for me, everything is yoga, right?
Yeah.
Um, everything is yoga. I, I get I get spun out sometimes by the amount of emphasis that's placed on asana practice in the world these days, and how that has been like superseded all of the other areas of it. And it seems like a lot of people, they just leave it at the door to their box, the box of yoga that they bought, the whatever style of some person, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but what about all the other flavors, or taking it home? But yeah, so for me, it's all there, like everything has basics,
Yeah.
everything has theory and practice, and you have to do all of that work. So, for me, like fencing and music is the same. Like I just have my footwork drills I have to do. I have to do lots of footwork drills and work on my footwork. And when I play music, I have to do finger work. I have to do my finger exercises and my scales. And so it's all just really close together. And I
Mhm.
think that's like the reason that I got to be a fencing coach sooner than like my skill set allows normally, because I'm not the best fencer or anything, but as a musician, my coach was like, you know how to practice. Like if anybody that I've ever seen is you know how to practice, because I would go practice there, and he's like, you know how to practice. You practice, work on that stuff. You can help other people practice. So it all goes together all the time in every way for me, or it's worthless. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just worthless, and that's been instilled into me from my teachers. Like you just got to do it all the time, all the way. You know, you can't halfway yourself through things. I mean, sometimes you can. When you really ain't feeling it, you can fake a little bit, to make sure that you get to the next spot. But for the most part, we got to be, if you're going to mess with Zen and yoga or those kinds of words,
Mhm.
it should just be all the time. Should be everything. Eating is yoga, breathing is yoga, walking, talking, the way you talk to other people, whatever. It's all that. So it is always all intermeshed to me, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I think I work similarly, and like even as you're talking, I'm like seeing like this connection, and then it was kind of a joke in my head too because it formed a question mark. But just like the footwork connecting to the handwork, and then connecting to kind of like head work and then heart, and
Yeah.
like all that full integration, like this full circle. And
Right.
I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Like in kendo, there's a saying for it, kikentai no ichi, kikentai no ichi. So ki, right? Your ki, or
uh-huh.
ki. Ken is
Mhm.
the sword. Tai is your body. Kikentai. Noichi as one. So mind, body, sword as one. So everything is as one. And so, it's nice that they have words for that.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have a lot of words for that in English, you know what I mean? Where there's phrases and things like that in Asia. But Kiken Tai Noichi is really important for me to have those three parts of myself as a person, And
Mhm.
like that, one of my other names is Niukska Itapiix, right? And that's a Blackfoot name that I got from my mentor Leland, who was up in Browning, Montana. Oh
Mhm.
God, it took him like 15 years to give me that name, right? He was like, "Hey, I've been praying on it. I finally have your name." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what? You have my name?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been praying on this for a long time to get the right one." So he called me Niukska Itapiix, and Niukska is just three, right? That's the number three, and Itapiix is persons, so three persons.
Oh,
And that's because of mind, body, spirit as one. He's like, you're really focused on that. That's your main focus in life, is to become a whole person by integrating these different parts of yourself. And that was hip for me. I felt beautiful to be blessed with that name, and I try to live up to it as much as I can, because Yeah, that's what's up. I'm trying to be a good human, you know, a good human, and
I'm
do
like,
what I'm built to do.
hmm everything's a practice, right? And I really like how you're talking about like this naming and how it reminds you of the kind of person that your mentor saw and that you want to continue to live up to.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty important name for me. It's a pretty important name for me, and it keeps me on that path. It helps me stay true to that. You know, it
Yeah.
helps me when I'm feeling weak or whatever. And you know, like the mind is a tricky thing, you know, and the body
Mhm.
is a tricky thing, and the spirit is a tricky thing. That's all tricky. So to work on any of them is a really beautiful thing, you know. But like there was a time when I was really too far on the spirit trip. You know what I mean? Like I was neglecting the body. I was
Yeah.
neglecting other things, and I was just like, I don't care about that. I'm in spirit land right now. I'm just meditating. I'm da da da. I'm in that, and you know, and so it's. I got to have that balance of those things so that I can really be full. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I found that. Then there's other times when I'm way too far on the physical side of my life, whether
Hmm.
it was bodybuilding or whether it was you know, gross satisfaction
Hmm.
or whatever else like that. I could go that direction, but then, you know, those other two facets are missing. And I like to think of myself as a gem, you know, and I have many facets. And so I want to keep those facets polished. I don't want to get them cloudy and messed up. And I enjoy those facets. And that kind of brings me to like your post that you put about your music bass line.
Mm.
I was like, what? What? Who? Why? You know, why? Why would you put yourself in there? Um, like,
It's a little bit of irony because like people always talk about like my influences are and
yeah,
they talk about them as if they're static, and I'm like, is that really how it works though?
right.
You know?
No, I mean, I hope not. But I mean, I know people that are like that. Like, I know people that'll be like, I'm a blues guitar player.
Period.
Yeah. Like when you said, what do you do? I'm a blues guitar player. Okay, you know, that's a weird flex, but all right, you know, go for it. You know, like I like to play music, you know. I guess I'm a musician. I'm classified as a musician because I enjoy a lot and I practice so I get better at it.
Hmm.
And they're like, "What type of music?" And I'm like, "Well, hopefully good music, you know. Hopefully good. Well, what genre? Well, it depends on the job. You know what I mean? If I get hired to play flamenco, I play flamenco. If I get hired to play sitar, I play sitar. If I get hired to
Hmm.
play blues, I play blues. If I get hired to play bluegrass, I do that. If I get hired to play country, I do that, you know. I play what they pay me to play. I'm a musician, you know. It doesn't really matter what style. Funk, right? I didn't even name funk, right? That's the one I'm like famous for or most known for. Not famous,
Hmm.
but the most known for would be funk. And I didn't even bring that one up. So it's like, yeah, you know. My sitar teacher, he said that there's two types of music, and that's it. There's just two types. There's pleasing, and there's displeasing. And he's like, he's just, you know, and he's like, you can't, you know, you just play music that pleases you. That's the most
Hmm.
important part, is that you please yourself. The next is that you please the person who's paying you to play the music. You know, like if you don't enjoy it, that's one thing. But if you make them enjoy it, that's gonna be a
Yeah.
benefit, right? Like you can suffer through playing something that you don't really dig, just so that they get off on it and they're paying the bill. So cool. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, first is you're trying to please yourself. Play music that you like, that feels good to you, that sounds good. And I like that. Like there's two types of sound: struck sound and unstruck sound. That's it.
Mm.
You know, that's it. And then there's music that you enjoy and music that you don't. And then all the other classifications is just extra. You know,
Yeah.
that's just extra noise.
I feel like that's becoming more and more apparent, and just like how difficult it is becoming to kind of peg like so many things that are happening musically.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it used to happen much slower. Like I think electronic music is a good, well, any we could start anywhere. We could start with blues and jazz or whatever, but like everything is influencing everything else and it's just changing, and like we can't necessarily come up with labels to like house it all. And for
Yeah,
me, that's exciting.
it is. It's cool. I mean, and it's because like here we are. I have no idea where you're at. You don't know where I'm at. We're sitting here talking on this thing, right? And that's what makes it so great.
Mhm.
Like when you think about it, like say you take flamenco music, for instance.
Mhm.
That started in India. It traveled all the way across. It went
Yep.
over, northern Africa. It went up into
Mhm.
Europe. It went all the way across that. And they soaked up everything that they could all the way along
Yeah.
and used it and added it, And then it got deeper because the conquistadors would go to the
Mhm.
States or to, this continent, pick up other things, and bring them back. So there's, in flamenco, there's some classifications of there and back again songs where it's like
Oh,
they
wow.
took like the rumba, for instance, right? Like the flamenco, they love to play a rumba, but that's clearly from slavery, from South America. You know what I mean? So the conquistadors brought it back, and then the gypsies were like, "Yo, that's cool. I'm gonna use that too, right?" And just
Yeah.
now that's our now, okay, rumba's ours. So it's always been happening, but you used to have to go there. You know what I mean? Like I had to go to India. You know what I mean? I couldn't sit here in a Zoom lesson with a sitar teacher. You
Right.
know what I mean? I had to go to India and sit down with my sitar teacher for a year in order to pick up the stuff that I did. And
Mhm.
so now with the technologies making, this little blue marble is really becoming that much more of a little blue marble. I hope that's supposed to be the goal, right? Is get it to be a smaller little marble, a littler ball, so that we can travel it easier and learn more
Yeah. And
about
so,
each other, right?
yeah. I know
Yeah,
that that's definitely been like during this time of COVID, like especially in the beginning, all of a sudden all these uh free classes and everything started popping up. And then also like just the ability to be able to study with someone, say in New York, who's like, oh gosh, just these amazing people that you wouldn't normally be able to connect with. And even these chats,
yep,
I think we're learning. There's something like in the beginning of like social media and stuff like that. I remember there were a bunch of us artist types and creative types who saw the amazing possibilities in it, where we could like connect with each other in a way where we wouldn't be able to otherwise. It's like, hey, I really dig your work, and I don't know, just letting you know. And
right,
and then sometimes they connect back, like Saul Williams sent me a message back. Yesterday I sent a tweet out to Reggie Watts. I don't know if he'll answer, but like, and other people too. This person Lydia Schwartz, whose poetry and activism and stuff I'd been watching, and who I've had like built some kind of rapport with over the years. And Lydia is in Seattle. We
right.
haven't met physically yet, but like um just like stuff like that. It's just like there are so many different ways of connecting, and I think if you go with that intention of connection, it can happen.
Yeah, for sure. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I've been doing my own little morning coffee talk times, around 7:30 or whatever. I've just been getting on Facebook and just talking about whatever I'm feeling like. And it's
Yeah.
been amazing the people that have checked in. I'm like, oh my God, there's one of my heroes is here having coffee with me this morning. Wow. Hello. I'm so humbled, that you're here with me at breakfast time. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's cool. It's really a beautiful thing. Um, like, cause myself, I, I guess, I kind of am like a cultural anthropologist on the low key level. Uh,
Uh-huh.
that's kind of really been my thing is like studying cultures, and because I just find the collective consciousness of everybody's culture is really what defines humans. You know, that's what makes us human as opposed to all these other things. And I find beauty in so many different cultures in the ways that people see the world. You know,
Mhm.
and and my whole thing has just been to try to walk around the world and see all these different ways that people do things and integrate it and accept their truth and acknowledge, you know, that that stuff is beautiful. Um, and then the way that this is working these days now, we can do that so much easier. You know, it's so much
Yeah.
easier. Like you said, you could just pick up a Zoom class on anything you want from people that are just high level. And yeah, we're all like, so many people are just giving it away almost, you know,
Yeah.
because
Which is
it's important to do that right now.
yeah. And it's important to support folks too.
It is.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. It's very important to support folks because like we're all like that like gigs got canceled,
Yeah.
appearances got canceled, physical classes got canceled, like so many things. And it's definitely affected everyone's pocketbooks. And I know I've a, I've been wanting to like help out a lot of people, and so I try to like anytime I get a little bit of something, I'm always trying to amplify it out.
Mhm.
Sometimes before I've done things that I need to do, so I'm still working on that. But yeah, it's definitely important to support our communities. I keep saying a lot is like creative folks, artists, musicians, etc. We all have known about the power of mutual aid for a very long time, because often we're the ones supporting each other's work, and sometimes it's hard for other folks to see that yeah, this isn't just a hobby I do on the side. This is my life, right?
Yeah.
And so we've been there passing the same 20 spot around back and forth depending on who needs it. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
do.
it's really cool to see other people like everyone else catching on like mutual aid. Yeah, we need to keep that in mind. We need to keep that idea going, because the odds are stacked up against us, obviously, as we can see. When the whole system gets broken down, it's just like, oh shoot, like
Yeah.
what do I do now,
Right. Yeah, like I know I have I got a short list of people that I'm like in the next I get paid in a couple days. And so I'm gonna be, you know, putting some pledges on some Patreon pages
Yeah,
once I get paid on that little bit. Just little bits, little $5, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's what I can do, but yeah, it's really important because like myself, yeah, it all dried up, you know. I was
yeah.
teaching 100 people a week how to play music and stuff.
Wow.
And now it's, you know, 8. You know what I mean? And it's really gone down in the gigs. I don't know, I kind of retired from really playing out a lot in like 2008, 2009 was
Mm-hmm.
when I really kind of got sick of it, so I kind of stopped. But I would still take gigs to make money, you know. I would still
Sure.
take certain gigs, but those are gone. You know, it's not fun. It's not cool. But Patreon, that's been helping me. I got a nice little group of people on Patreon that have been kicking down, which has been nice. And then I can just, you know, like I do my little coffee talks. I put them on there. I add some pictures that I took from the tours. I put some old songs from the '90s up there, you know, and then I got to do a music lesson now for somebody. He wants me to do a music lesson, so I'm going to do a music lesson on there. You know, just you have to adapt, right? We have to just
Yes.
continually adapt and adjust, or we die, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we just keep adapting and adjusting. And I was kind of lucky, I guess. Like in March, my fencing club closed and Swallow Hill closed, and so
Okay.
that was all of my income. That was everything. And my fencing coach, he's like, okay, can you please paint the building? And we're just going to paint the building. We're going to be closed, but I want it to be really awesome when people come back.
Mm-hmm.
So I lucked out and I got a labor gig. And so I did that for March, April, May, right? And then once June came, I got to do summer camps because they allowed summer camps. So we did summer camps at the fencing club. But now that school's in, there's no enrichment programs, So I would go to a school every day of the week and coach fencing every
Yeah.
single day. And so I don't get to do that anymore. That's a lot of hours gone, and
Yeah.
Follow Hill's gone. So yeah, it's getting tight. And then we had the P payments for a while, and then I was on unemployment insurance, but that is gone.
Hmm.
So it's just really drying up for this guy. And but here's the thing, like I'm still coming from a land of abundance.
Yeah.
I'm not even tripping. You know what I mean? I'm just not gonna go there because, this is my path. And it is not a hobby. It's not a hobby. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? I don't have a degree, but I could have a doctorate. I've put in more time than a lot of doctors have put in
Hmm.
on their time. I've not defended it against the board, but I've defended it against Bernie Worrell and Bootsy Collins and George Clinton. So you know what I mean? If I can defend that, then why? Then I guess I should deserve some kind of title in there. But like I've been really lucky that I've been able to play music all my life because it takes hours of practice.
Yeah.
Some of my students the other day were just like, "How much do you practice a day?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't put a timer on." And like, "Well, what do you think?" And I'm like, "I don't know, an hour here, hour there, a couple hours there, hour and a half. I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I don't know, 6 hours. You know,
Yeah.
like on the regular, I'm playing my instrument 5, 6, 7 hours a day."
Yeah.
And this is not a hobby, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a hobby. I have to work hard at it to be any kind of good. And it is kind of strange though because um, I don't court gigs like I used to. I'm not so hungry for the stage to get out there and be around drunk people, to be honest. That's what it's really about. I don't want to
It's
be around
not
drunk.
fun.
Uh-uh. No, I really like listening rooms when I could play to a listening room where they're
Yeah.
sitting there and definitely listening, but I don't want to be background music, and I don't. I, I mean, Funkadelic is kind of a different thing, right?
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that's kind of a different level. There's a spirituality to that that is different than being on a local stage with a band, no matter how good it is. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, like to me, George is kind of a leftist aesthetic monk. At least he used to be, right? And he was very left hand, very, very dark, but he would soak up all the negative energies of everybody.
Uh-huh.
How many people just throw all the negativity that they had, and George just drinks it up like Shiva drinking the milk, right? That got churned, the poison. And so to me, that's like George. He's like that guy that churned up the butter and drank all the poison for everybody so that they can go on and be happy. And
Yeah.
but that was part of for me like that. I was trying to drink it up, and I'm not George, so I got stuck on stupid. You know what I mean? I had to get out of there so I could continue to live. Because I'm not George, but um,
Yeah.
that has a level of spirituality that I wouldn't mind doing if I could do it and survive. But I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have lived through the stroke I already had.
Hmm.
If I was still out on the road, I probably would have died. You know,
Shit.
when I had my stroke, and that was 2011.
Hmm.
I got out at a good time
Good.
because I got out and I got really to work on my body, and then I had a stroke as soon as I was really, really fit.
Damn it. Yeah. It's just like those lessons. There were two things that you just brought up for me that like really hit home. And thank you so much for like being vulnerable and sharing those things. I love hearing about George Clinton and him kind of being, I guess, there's this idea of sin eaters,
Yeah.
and they are designated persons who, they will eat the dark, they will eat the sins,
Yep.
and they, yeah, and they're able to like process it and not be destroyed by it. And as a um, body worker and sometimes dubbed in my community as a healer, um, I can feel how that could happen and also how I am not able to work in that way in my community.
Mhm.
Um, and so I really admire that and I'm fascinated by that role and it's really cool to find out about that person because yeah, I saw I saw him perform I guess 20 years ago with my mom. She was like,
Uh-huh.
they're not as wild as they used to be. But it was still like quite an experience, you know.
Right.
And also to be able to see my mom too, like open up and be joyful in that moment.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I just love that so much because I think I probably had an inkling that maybe he was that kind of person, but I didn't know because like when he's on stage what I saw was what he was on stage and he was present in a certain way where all the things that were unfolding around him could happen,
Hmm.
and he was holding the center and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, he's the grand wizard, you know. He's really he's a pretty intense human being, man. It's an amazing guy. And you know, even without talking to him a lot, I spent a lot of years with him, and we didn't even really have to talk much. Just looks, just little things, you know. But yeah, he definitely soaks up a lot of energy of people, and he just takes it just like
Oh.
a funnel. And you could just, I mean, you know, delic is the part of that word, delic, right? And
Hmm.
there was a lot of time when I was like very, very delic every day. I was totally delic. And I would see that kind of energy coming from the crowd, just like he, and he just like,
Oh, wow.
he's going like this, but really he's just sucking, he's not sucking in praise and adulation and stuff. He's
Yeah.
sucking in all their worries, he's sucking all their pain, all the bills that they were thinking about that they're not thinking about. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because you think about all that stuff, and then you go to the P Funk show and you're jumping up and down, your hands are up, and you're letting, screaming, letting all that crap out. And he's just
Yeah.
like, got it, I got it, here you go.
Wow.
Cool. You know, but then it almost killed him too, right? Because
Yeah.
he was totally off on his own thing. He got stuck on stupid, but he's way better now. He's so much healthier. It's so beautiful. It's so cool because I mean he goes fishing all the time. They got a big farm out the back of the house now. So like you know he lived at the Motel 6 back when I quit, right?
Mm.
Now he's got a big spread with a huge you know garden, and they go fishing off their boat, and so
Hmm.
he's doing it right, and so it's really nice because he's posting himself with food, pictures with food,
Nice.
and the sunshine and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right. I love that. Like we all get to be whole people. And that's something that I just keep saying over and over again because like I am on this path of reconciliation towards a bunch of different things that have happened in my life and also things that I'm seeing around me and stuff. It doesn't mean that those things didn't happen or anything, but like just the fact that like we all get to be whole people and giving people a chance to do that. And healing work is hard work. You know, a lot of healers they don't advertise, you
Yeah.
know. And it's just the way that you described him working on stage reminds me of one of the biggest lessons I learned in a yoga teacher training, which was the job of the yoga teacher is to distract the students while the real yoga is happening.
Mm.
Um, and I think that's very very powerful, and I think that's something that we were talking about yoga a little bit earlier. That's something that I think most yoga students, teachers don't get, especially students, is like, we're actually distracting you for the real yoga to happen because it
Right.
ultimately it doesn't matter about me as the teacher. I'm just guiding you to align your fucking nadis and shit.
Right.
Uh, like it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Yeah. I'm always telling people, I'm like, look, man, I'm just here and I'm pointing out the window
mhm.
and I'm showing you could play with that toy and you could play with that toy and you could play with that toy. And they're all just out the window, you know, but it's on you to go outside and play.
Yeah.
I can't play for you. Or I can sit here and play with those toys all day. You, but you need to go play with them and just have fun and play and express yourself.
Mhm.
And it's like that because I try to trick people into stuff like all of a sudden they're playing a song and they don't realize it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those happen to be the chords to this song. Oh my God, I'm playing a song. Like, yep, you
Yeah.
know, it's pretty fun. I'm like, hit five, hit three, hit one, hit zero. Oh my God, all of a sudden, playing hit the road jack. How did that happen? You know, it's really fun. That is fun when you trick people into discovering themselves. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what it is, right? It's not necessarily union with themselves, but it's like discovery. A lot of times, it's just discovering who they are, because
Yeah.
you're already yourself. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like becoming one with the self. It's kind of a silly thing, because what else are you? You just have to understand that you are. You don't have to become it. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. We have to. So many people like, oh, I have to become one. No, you already are. You are. You just have to realize that you are. You just have to understand it. You just have to
Absolutely.
hop to it and take it. You know. So it's fun when people discover, oh my God, I'm a musician. I can play. I can do that. And like, yes, you can. It's great. Or fencing, whatever. You know, I did a birthday party for some people last week, and it was like the young girl that's in my class. She's 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just awesome. Jocelyn, she's just awesome. I love her. She's so vibrant and so has so much fun in her body. She's just moving her body all the time and just really positive and just happy. And so she had her birthday party and she brought friends, and she's a dancer, and she had people from her dance troupe come.
Nice.
So they have control of their bodies. You know, they have really well control of their bodies. They know how to do their stuff. So I told them simple things, and they were off to the races. And one girl was just touching up this other girl, just bam, 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 bam. And I was like, okay, so you're really good at defending because you're blocking like five attacks, but then she gets you on the sixth or seventh attack. I'm like, you really are good with that, but you just need to go forward and make her worry about you now, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's like, but that's I'm just shy. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just make her worry about you once. And then she put her arm out and went, and she got a touch, and she looked at me like, wait a minute. I was like, yeah, do that again, do that again. And then next thing you know, it was like 12-2,
Yeah.
right? It was 12-2. And then next thing you know, it was 14-12.
Ooh.
Boom, and she was just like, "Wow, where do I sign up?" You know what I mean? This is the coolest thing. I had no idea that I was aggressive. I've never been aggressive before. I've always been demure and and
Yeah.
but this let me get that thing out, and I was like, "Isn't it cool?" And she was like, "Yes." It was so fun. Because you don't hurt people, when
Yeah.
you're fencing. The idea is not to hurt people. Sometimes you get a little bruise or something, but for the most part, you feel like you're stabbing them all the way through, and it just is this great moment. But everybody's laughing, having fun afterwards. So it's not an evil type of aggression.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Mm-hmm.
really fun to see her. I was like, hey, why don't you just try to go forward? And all of a sudden, she's like, I never knew I was aggressive. And she was so fired up, she was so aggressive. And she never took a step backwards after that. She just only
Wow.
went forward. And that was just a really fun thing to do because she didn't realize it. She didn't know she had that in her. So it was really fun. That was an extra gift because, I had no idea that was going to happen. Uh,
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was just there to help them have their birthday party. I wasn't really trying to teach them anything about themselves deep down, but it worked. It was an absolute mistake.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a key important thing to note. I've been in a lot of spiritual communities, a lot of healing communities, a lot of networks, a lot of all those things. And I definitely have some very solid pet peeves about certain things. And part of that is like um self-proclaimed healers who like go in with this intention of I'm going to heal folks, like I'm going
Yeah.
to do, and it's just really kind of an imposition. um Drives me nuts. I get so mad. It's an imposition, and I feel personally that healing is a collaborative work. um even as a massage therapist, that work I feel is collaborative, or at least for me, I feel best when that work is collaborative, I should say. Um, because there is a danger when we have a lot of different skill sets of imposition, and that imposition can be dangerous. And so um, it's cool when it just like happens naturally, you know, like when you're able to be present and like, oh, here's something I can help with, but it's not an imposition, it's like this collaborative act, and then guiding the other person towards an interest, right, into that next step. And
Right.
I know I've experienced this with you even as a very poor guitar student. Just because I have so much stuff going on all the time. And so some things get whittled away if I haven't already built a habit for
Right.
them, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You
and
space.
huh?
You gotta have your space. You gotta make space for things, and you have a
Yeah.
lot going on. I know, and
Yeah.
stuff keeps getting thrust upon you, even so.
Well, at some point I'm gonna figure it out where I'm like, this is the space for these things and you can't mess with it. So, you know, and
Right.
I am getting better about that. And part of it is because the people in my life, because all of a sudden I do have friendships and relationships that are really important for me, and I want to make space for them.
Mhm.
And often they're like, we know you're really busy, only if you can. I'm like, you know what, I don't know how much time we have, and actually this is the most important thing, you know, not all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm trying really hard to um figure that stuff out, you know.
Yeah.
um
It's not easy, like I see you really stepping into a place of mentorship with people, you know, and with all your students and with all these people, they look up to you. They look to you for a lot of things. And I think that's a hard thing to deal with too.
mhm.
It's a hard thing to step into and to allow. Like if you're real, it is like you're not one of those people that's like, I am a healer and I will heal today, right? Because people when they like you said, people say I'm a healer, right?
Mhm.
People say that about me, and so that's a different thing, and it's like that. It's like Leland told me, he was like, "Look, you're a teacher now. You teach people. People are going to be looking up to you. People are going to
Mhm.
be asking you for advice. People are going to be, and you're going to have to accept that." Because I was like,
Yeah.
"Nah, I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. What are you talking about? Why would anybody ask me about anything?" You know what I mean? And he was like, "You know, no, I'm sorry. You're not stupid. You're not an idiot. You know a
Yeah.
lot, and people are going to be asking you questions, and you better get used to it." And one of my guitar students not long ago, he signed up for a 60 minute class, right? And I'm
Mhm.
charging $1 a minute. I'm not like not do. I'm like, yep, money. You can pay me. And he's like, so all I want to do is talk. And I was like, okay, um, can't we play music? And he was like, no. And I was like, I'm not accustomed to being paid to talk. And he's like, get used to it. Get used to it because that's what's going to happen. And I was like, oh my God, okay, you know. And then, yeah, over the last few months, I'm getting paid to talk a lot more now. So it's really interesting,
Yeah.
to step into that and to make space for those kinds of things that I never thought I'd be doing necessarily. So, to make space to talk about stuff is hard. It's hard for me to
Yeah.
find, to be like, yeah, okay, I could do that. Because I didn't think I could, like, who would want to listen? Who would even want to listen? I
I
don't.
mean, you're a freaking amazing person. I know amazing is like the like, kind of like this catch-all term. It's like one of my writerly ticks, right? It's
Hmm.
so amazing.
Right,
But I just like you said, people in the community are calling you a healer, and I see you that way as well.
no, they're calling you
And
a healer. They don't call me that.
well, what are they doing? I feel like you are a healer.
I'm a teacher.
Um,
I might be
just
helping you to people. I don't know. I don't see myself that way, but that's cool. I'm
but
trying to heal myself. That's for sure. You know.
and that's I mean, that's often the path, right?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. I
We
think
we
a
have,
lot of people see me healing myself and then it inspires them to do stuff
yeah.
for themselves.
I
Yeah.
think I think that's I think that's being a healer.
Yeah, I guess.
Um
I'll take
uh
it. Okay.
like even on the spiritual path, like I like that story Ram Dass tells about like seeing his teacher and asking about spirituality and his teacher saying run. because it's because it's not easy, and it's not all bliss and joy and everything, which is, you know, a lot of what people look for. Another big lesson there for me is this idea that you can't become too avadut. And avadut is that, you know, like seeking spirituality and mantra grinding and pounding your freaking tailbone into the floor and like all these different things, entering into these really sweet meditative spaces and stuff. It can be like a drug,
Uh-huh.
and it feels really good and becomes harder and harder to get to those places sometimes too. um, and that whole idea of being Abadut is just like laying aside, you know, our 3D life for this chase, you know, for the, um, you know, seeking of the bliss or whatever.
Right.
And I think you talked about that a little bit about
Yeah.
how like, um, you know, you had started to go that direction, and I wanted to talk about that too because I told that resonates with me. There was a
Hmm.
time where I was like definitely mantra grinding. I wanted to meditate myself off of the planet. Like that was my fucking goal.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it anymore. And I had some really hard awakenings with that. Um and so I was wondering if you could talk with that. Like um
Well, yeah, it's kind of like a form of denial. You
mhm,
know, it's like a form of denial and addiction and whatever. Yeah, it's just like switching one for the other. And you know, like it was that like because like I would be, you know, so much into the music or getting into meditative spaces and
mhm,
creative and whatever, but my body was just like falling apart.
mm,
And I didn't care because I was like, I don't care. I'm about the spirit. I'm the spirit, you know.
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
working on that. I'm working on this stuff, and I don't care. Let the body drop. So what? But that, you know, the life is done. The body is done. Life is done. Keep your dang body together, right? Make it work so
mhm.
that you can do these things. And really, I mean, that's the trip. Like with asana practice, right?
Right.
That's the trip to keep you healthy, so you could do all the other yoga.
Mhm.
You know, it's like that's that trip, so that you could do the other thing. But yeah, I don't remember when I woke up to the fact that I was like escaping. You know, I was using meditation and that kind of stuff as an escape, and that I was, I don't know, I think it was a Krishna devotee.
Mm.
A Krishna devotee flipped me out, and I was like, okay, yeah, nah, this is not it. This is not what's up, you know? Like, cause they were, you know, they like renounced the world and were out selling these books and he had a baby and a kid, you know what I mean? And it's just like he
Yeah.
was just selling the books for ISKCON, and I was like, but your baby, you know, you have a brand new
Yeah.
baby. You're just like gonna go sell books for ISKCON. You can't renounce the world now, you dipshit. It's like, you know what I mean? Like this is
No,
not
that's cool.
this is not the time. This is not the time. And then I kind of realized that I was, in a sense, doing that myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like like you can't renounce the world unless you can't renounce anything unless you have it to renounce.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if I have not been a householder, I can't renounce that life
Right.
because I have not had it to renounce. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so um, at this point in stage of my life, I've done all the wild stuff and whatever, and I'm just trying to get back to like some kind of a meaningful existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't. I was almost to say normalcy, but I just like I don't understand what that. But I'm just trying to get to just a regular old meaningful existence where I'm existing and I'm not doing harm. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm doing as little harm as I can do. I could probably do less, um, but I don't know. I don't know, man.
Well,
You know,
It's
like if I could be a Jane, I probably would. You know what
yeah.
I mean? But it's just not set up. It's not set up. It's not, I'm a couple thousand years late or whatever in the wrong part of the world. You know what I mean? Because I dig Janes. I really like the Jane people.
Yeah.
Because I get flipped out by all the people with their veganism and all these different things that they use as judgmental methods on people. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, put your car away, you know, like they wear a mask. They've been wearing a mask for thousands of years, the Jains.
Mm.
They don't go outside without a mask because they don't want to suck in the microorganisms and the little beings. And they walk in a straight line. They walk in single file in each other's step foot so that they could be like, there's ants there. Watch out for
Mhm.
the ants. You
Mhm.
know, they don't. They wear like no stitches in their clothing. It's just woven fabric. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like no machines, none of that. They only eat like they won't eat a carrot, right? They won't eat a carrot because to eat the carrot kills the carrot,
Mhm.
right? But they'll eat grapes. They'll eat bananas because it doesn't kill the tree to eat
Oh,
the bananas. It doesn't kill the bush to eat the grapes. You know what I mean? So like, that's a level of ahimsa that's more real, or
right.
deeper. It's deeper, not more real, but it's deeper. I mean, we talk about nonviolence and then we go drive and kill a bazillion bugs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And have an attitude about our ahimsa. Like, no, feel denial still about your violence. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not easy. It's hard to balance this stuff and to be a real human being, a full human being. It's not an easy trip. That's why we all get off on all these bad or different situations or coping mechanisms just because it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's just not easy. I mean, like when I had my stroke, I was I was inside my body and my mind was there. My mind was fine. My spirit was strong, but my body was shut off. My body was just like, okay, my right arm was just flopping around like just wild. I couldn't
Uh,
speak, you know. I couldn't touch my nose. I just couldn't. But inside, I was like, oh my God, I can't control myself. And all that came out was no bad, not me doing. Like it's not me controlling my arm. That's not me. It was amazing
mm,
to be stuck in my body and realize, okay, I'm in this contraption and it doesn't work. I don't have control over this contraption anymore. I've
mhm.
lost control of the contraption, but I'm here. I'm still cognizant. I'm still thinking clearly, and I'm definitely not going to give up. I'm not quitting. I'm not, whatever. Let's fight. Let's do what we got to do. Um, and when I came home from the hotel and I had no feeling still or from the hotel, from the hospital. When I came home from the hospital, and I laid on my shoulder, and I couldn't feel my shoulder or
Mhm.
my arm, and I was like laying all the way just on my arm. So it kind of felt like I was floating because I couldn't feel my body touching anything.
Uh-huh.
It was so weird, but I felt huge. I felt like just kind of I spread out of my shoulder. I just into this huge, infinite being. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
realized that I was like, wow, I'm really this huge, infinite being, and I'm in this body though. But I'm this huge, infinite thing. But then I'm in this body. I want this body to work. I really want it to work. And I made that pledge to the highest power. You know, that would do. Get me through this. I'll be a good boy, all that stuff. And I've been trying to do that though because I did make that pledge. So like once yeah, okay, could start moving it again, and I could grab a fork, and I don't know. It took me probably a year and a half to eat a potato chip or a
Mhm.
chip of any kind without just crushing it. I could get my fingers to close, but it would just. Um, but yeah, just knowing I was this huge, vast being that I was in a body, and then that I had lost control of it,
Mhm.
and it was really then about my spirit getting me through that, because my mind was freaked out.
Yeah.
my mind was just like, oh my God, this is awful. This is the worst thing. How am I, kill me now. I don't want to do this. Because, grandma was like, is he going to play guitar again? And the doctor was like, yeah, no. And I was like, Get guitar here now.
Yeah.
Get. I was like, inside, I was like, look, motherfucker, I'm going to be playing guitar in 10 minutes. Go get the guitar, bring it over here. Let's go. And so, like, they had to give me blood clot busting shots like every 8 hours.
Oh my goodness.
And it was really painful. But so every time they did that, I would just beat the heck out of my guitar. And just my arm was just flailing, flapping around, but I would just beat it up. Like my spirit was not about to let it go down like that.
Hmm.
No way. No way. And it worked, you know what I mean? Like I really feel like the hard work that I did on my spiritual stuff got me through that point when my body was shut down and was like, we're done.
Yeah.
Because I could have easily just decided to shut down and be done.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
I think a lot of people do. A lot of people, when they have that, in their brain, they're just like, okay, I'm done. I'll never use my arm again. And I was like, oh hell no. Oh hell no, that ain't what's going on. I'm gonna be using it.
Yeah.
And it pulled me through. So I'm really grateful for all that stuff that I did as a youngster to work on my spirit, you know, and all the time that I did in my 20s or 30s developing it in those other ways.
Hmm.
Because it helped. It's kind of interesting how much they're talking about, using LSD and mushrooms and all these
Hmm.
things as therapy now. And I'm just like, I
They've
remember
been
one
doing
time I
that.
was hanging out with my mom after I was tripping. I was tripping. And it was in the morning. I had tripped all night long and we were having some talk, and she's like, how did you get so wise? And I was just like, tripping balls, you know? Um, but I don't regret any of that because it really taught me a lot. All those psychedelic experiences I had really, like I've hung out with. I know this one Baba in Rishikesh,
Hmm.
and he was straight up. He came over here and he's like, "Where's the mushrooms?" Straight up, he's like, "Where's the mushrooms?" And I was like, "Really?" He was like, "It's like taking 10 years off your practice." He's like, it's like sitting there every day for 10 years. You eat some mushrooms, you go meditate. It's like you've been doing it all this time. He's like, oh yeah, the right amount of good ones. Just not crazy. But I
Yeah.
thought it was really a trip. He was like, oh yeah, yeah, all day long. And then in India, there's so much rampant drug use with the yogis.
Hmm.
So much. It's insane. I never smoked more weed than when I was over there with those guys. It was insane. But they'd perform magic and stuff too. Like this guy, he put his hand out and a ball of flame fell into his hand, and then he
Uh-huh.
picked it up and he put it on his chillum and then lit the chillum. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, he put his hand out, boom. He put his hand out on orange, pop in his hand. Here you go, eat this orange. I'm like, wow. I didn't even sat in the circle yet. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
wasn't like they put something in there that I smoked that I saw something.
Right.
Was just coming to the circle, and I saw him just put his hand out,
Hmm.
little ball of flame, and he just put it on his chillum and started smoking. I was floored.
I just want to say like I've done some deep meditation practices and stuff, and we talk about that. We talk about the um I'm trying to be careful about how I say it.
Hmm.
So they made a differentiation between the yogas that you gain, and then also kind of like what seems like these special powers, like these abilities, right? And in the Bible, we see Jesus doing a lot of these kind of miracles, right?
Right.
That if you do further study, he had to learn them from somewhere,
Right.
right? And it's like I can't right now remember the words for them, but there are like these dikshas or disciplines to get to those places. And
Hmm.
you can also lose kind of those powers if certain stipulations aren't met. it's just very interesting because people think, oh yeah, that's hokey or magic or whatever, but it's actual, it's considered a technology that all
Yeah,
of us can learn with the proper practice and discipline.
yeah.
So yeah, I know I I know a little bit of what you're talking about.
I met
And
a guy that floated too. He walked, but he didn't
yeah,
touch the ground.
yeah, that shit
It was the
is
weirdest
like,
thing. His legs moved, but his feet were like an inch off the ground,
wow.
or like a block in the middle of this huge thing. He had this little. I'll put him up as my cover photo. He's in my. I use him as a cover photo every once in a while. I
Hmm.
was in can't remember which town it was, but it's just a big, huge temple, right? And it's just this guy apparently is just one of the saints of the temple that he's been there for a long time, and he sings in this huge hallway. But so he had a midget with him, this little tiny guy, and he
Hmm.
was all painted up and dressed up and whatever. And he would like part the people. He would be like,
Yeah.
"Move out of the way, Baba's coming through." And then this dude would walk behind him, and he was just floating. And
Wow.
it was the weirdest thing because I was walking down the hallway in this temple and I saw him singing and I was like, whoa, this is dope. So I sat down a ways from him for a while and I just was like low key, just kind of like listening to this guy sing this amazing stuff because it was a really cool reverb chamber and stuff. Um, and then after a while, somebody approached me and he was like, Baba wants you to go to tea. And I was like, who? He's like, Baba, over there. And I was like, oh, that guy? He's like, yeah, he wants you to go to tea with him. So I was like, okay, cool. And so then the little guy went ahead and made everybody move, and he floated along. And we went and had tea, and he just smiled at me. We didn't talk. But he bought me tea, and we had talk, and then we went back, and he went to singing, and I left it. But it was the coolest thing, man, to meet this guy that could levitate, and sing. His voice was just amazing. God, his voice was amazing. Yeah, but and like I hesitate telling people
Mhm.
that.
I get that.
Because most people are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "No, man, he did not touch the ground." He was walking, but he did not touch the ground. He could straight levitate. And it wasn't no,
Mhm.
you know, levitating how they show you sitting there with your knees up around your belly. That's one of my pet peeves is all the yoga, the meditation pictures with the terrible posture with their knees and thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, he didn't levitate like that. He levitated as he was walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible. And, Varanasi, I saw all kinds of weird things. I don't even remember all the weird things I saw in Varanasi. Those guys. Or the place in Nepal, Pashupatinath. Those guys. Like, I met a Baba who was a cannibal,
Mhm.
you know? And he was up to some craziness,
Mhm.
you know? But, I mean, it was a trip because he, like, went, the, the river wasn't really flowing.
Mhm.
And so his camp was across from the Burning Ghat over the
Okay.
river there, and then
Yeah.
they would sweep the stuff in, and he
Yeah.
would he would just go out there and grab body parts and come and chew on
Yeah.
them. And he was like, same, 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 same. He was naked. He was a Nag Baba, so he's
Yeah.
like ashes, ashes, skin, same, same. I breathe it. I already eat it. It's in you too. Why don't you
Yeah.
just eat it? What's their problem? What's your hang up? And I was like, what's my problem? What's my hang up? I don't know. Okay, I guess I'll think about that. I'm just
That's a
not
great
still
question.
not ready to eat about, he took the ashes and put them on my face and stuff like that,
Mhm.
which was kind of a strange non-consenting type thing.
Mhm.
And that kind of freaked me out. And then he's like, "Here, eat this." And I was just like, "Yeah, time for me to find a different Baba to hang out with."
And that, I think that's totally fair. And that's the great thing about spirituality too. One of the big lessons I got when I was studying real deep is just like, I didn't necessarily need to see a lot of spectacular miracles, and so I haven't seen they've always been kind of light or just integrated or
Mhm.
and things like that. And so like I hear all these stories and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I dig it. Like I have no doubt that there are processes people can learn to bring people back to life, or
Right.
channel a fucking heart surgeon, uh you know stuff
Hmm.
like that. And so like the ones I experienced were really light and kind of trickstery and stuff. And where was I going with that? Just I mean that stuff's real, and it oh, there are so many different pathways. We're all I One of the lessons from the Vedas I got, I think it's from the Vedas, is that we're all eventually going to get there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is multiple, so many different paths.
Yeah.
Um, Something that initially made me uncomfortable, but which has helped me a lot, is just like this idea of uh like say demons or characters like that who are enlightened, and
Hmm.
they know better, and they're causing a lot of harm, and
Right.
they are also destined to get there. But
Yeah.
first, they have a whole lot of work they have to do and a whole lot of payment before they do get there. And I don't know. I find that idea comforting, because like there have been so many different places in my life where people try to lord over you, like this is the way, like this
Hmm.
is the way. And so for some people, might be eating a little dead human flesh, or
Right.
or drinking from a skull cup, or
Yep.
just watching bees and flowers and shit, or like
Yeah.
you know saying some mantras
Yeah.
very diligently, and shirking, giving up something or whatever. Like
Right.
there's so many, or just living your life. Like we hear about the you know idiot savant or whatever all the time, like the yogis who weren't trying to be yogis, who were
Right.
just listening to the water.
Yeah.
They-
Exactly. Chop wood, carry water, man. That's all you
yeah.
gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Yeah, there's an infinite paths to the top of the mountain, right?
Hmm.
Infinite paths and infinite little trails, and even if there's a well-worn trail
Hmm.
and it has switchbacks, you could cut up, or you could go around. You could do anything you want. It's up to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
For me, Musashi really, really took that home for me. Miyamoto Musashi.
Hmm.
He wrote a book called The Book of Five Rings, which is pretty famous in business and martial arts. In
Hmm.
the 80s, they were using it all the time in business. Um, but he talked about the way, right? And how the way of the general is just like the way of the carpenter, is just like the way of the artist, is just so you have your way, and whatever you can do, you can reach enlightenment with any of those ways. If
Hmm.
you're a carpenter, you can make enlightenment through carpentry. If you're a painter, you can attain enlightenment through painting. If
Yeah.
you're a writer, you could do it through writing. If you're a merchant, you can attain enlightenment through being a merchant. It doesn't matter. You can attain it. And I mean, he was like a murderer, right? I mean, he had 60 some duels and he didn't lose any of them.
Dang.
So that's a lot of people killed. Um, you know what I mean? So like, and he attained enlightenment through killing people,
Which is, yeah,
basically. You know
yeah,
what I
which
mean?
is
It's just
uncomfortable.
another, it was a different time, right? It was a totally
Hmm.
different time, different culture, so whatever. But I take what I want from that, and that is that I can achieve it through any way, and through every way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Little
Yeah.
bits of every way, and that's what I like about him, is because he painted, he was a sculptor, he wrote books, he did all those things. He embraced all of that stuff because he felt that that was important to be full. You know,
Yeah.
you need to be full. His thing was like study all the arts,
Yeah.
study all the ways. Then you could pick your way.
Yeah.
And then you realize how much it's all the same way, which comes back to the beginning of our conversation about how it's all the same thing. It's all one thing. It's all one training. No matter what I'm training for, I'm just training myself.
Hmm.
you know? So if I'm training music, if I'm training martial arts, if I'm riding my bike, if I'm working on my computer skills, it's all training just but to make me better at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's what I mean, that's what all these lessons teach us. I mean, even music, like music, meditation, spirituality, it teaches even, you know, even the Christian church, if you're paying attention, like it teaches you to look within, to have your own conversation with the higher power. Some talk about like that higher power being within us, so
Hmm.
our higher self, and like God consciousness, whatever. And I think that Christian mysticism also gets to that as well.
Yeah.
It's just like this, like that's what we're supposed to be focusing on, not like all of this like performance and
Yeah.
um I am a spiritual person, watch me, look at me be spiritual, you
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
um
That's everywhere, man. That's all over the place.
um
And the Christians are just, that's an interesting subset of the humans, you know. I was brought up in couple different levels of that, and I had to go to Jesuit high school, and then I went to Gustavus Adolphus, so they're high Protestant, so other direction. The Yeah, what a trip all that was, man. But my physics teacher in my senior year, he sorted it out for me pretty cool. I can't remember father. I can't remember if father what. He was a father, one of the fathers. But he put it down together. He was like, "It's cool, man," because we were working with ripple tanks, wave tanks, right?
mhm, mhm,
And I was kind of tripping on the literacy, being taking the Bible literally or whatever. And he was like, "Don't you dare do that. Oh my God, come on now. We're men of science here. Don't you dare. Come on. And he was like, okay, so what happens? What does it say? God said, let there be light. So now, what is it when somebody says something? What happens? Well, then a vibration of energy, right? So it's just a
mm,
causative vibration of energy, right? That's all it was, man. It's just a causative vibration. And I was like, oh, okay, so cool. So God said, let there be light is just And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, wow. Cool. Let's do this. Let's play with this ripple tank some more. You know, about it, you know, because I'm finding God in the ripple tank, you
mhm,
know,
mhm.
and it was really cool because some people were like so literal, like God created the earth in 6 days or whatever, and he was like, how many
Come on.
days is a day to God? We don't know that. It could be a million years. It could be billions of years, right? And don't trip on all those things. It's just the causative vibration. That's all it
Mm.
is. It's the causative vibration of the universe. And I was like, geez, okay. All right, I'm with you. I'm down. He's like, it's not some little white man with his little white beard. That's not what's up.
Right.
I was so happy to have a Jesuit monk tell me these things, you know what I mean?
The Jesuits
Because,
are cool, man,
yeah,
they're
for the
so
most
cool.
part, for the most
For
part,
the most part, yeah.
easy
There are
now,
some things.
easy, easy. Yeah, a lot of my friends are scarred for life from a
Oh,
couple of those guys. So,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that went on over there. There was touchy feely. There was some things happening
Mhm.
that don't should never be happening. But yes, for the most part, because they take that scholastic approach, right? So I was happy that I didn't have that dogmatic version
Yeah.
of it. You know what I mean? It was really nice. And like for a lot of Jesus is a death god, man. I used to get in trouble all the time. They would call me for all the time. I'd be like, "Look, man, this is a death cult. You got this dead dude up here because the Jesuits they like their Christ bloody and tore up, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm,
they're really known for the Christ is always extra bloody, ripped open. You can like we there was a painting above our
mhm.
altar that it wasn't a sculpture, it was a painting, and you could see his insides coming out, and it was super
Wow.
bloody. And I was like, come to me when you don't have wine on tap and you're not wearing gold threads, man.
Mhm.
When you take off the gold threads, you don't have wine on tap, and you're not worshiping this death cult, then I'll talk to you. But then, like that one physics teacher, kind of he turned it around, so I was I was not so militantly adamant against them, because I was like not having it for a long time. I was like, you guys are the Pharisees and the Sadducees. You should just stop right now. You would kill him in a minute. And they would like, Jug, you're off to Jug, which was justice under God. That was detention, was
Oh,
Jug. Yeah, justice under God. So I had to go all the time and talk about why I would say these things to the priest. 'Cause I'd be like, there you go again with your gold robes. Your vow of poverty, wearing gold thread. Yep, okay. And they'd be like, Mr. Sauthoff, there's enough out of you.
and too close to home, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. For real. Like, I got to go a couple times to their residency, to the
Hmm.
Des Res, as we called it, and that was pimping, man. That was big pimping up in there.
Oh my
Cherry
goodness.
wood and the best woodworking, gold stuff everywhere. It was rich, man. I've been in some rich people's houses,
Yeah.
but that was beyond.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing all that. I hate to cut this off because I want to continue talking with you, and I'm wondering if we can do this again.
Sure, we can do it
Um,
again. Nope,
and
that would be
then
great.
what are
I'm
some
having
words?
a blast.
What are what are some things you'd like to leave folks with, and also how can they reach out to you for to support you and
Okay.
also to get lessons and stuff?
Let me see. I can put some things up here right now.
Okay.
Let's
Do you want me to
see.
share the screen?
Um, it should. This should just drop in. Boom. There's my Purple Mountain Music. Uh,
Rad.
purplemountainmusic.net. That'll help. Don't I have my tip jar up here? I don't have my tip jar. I lost my tip jar. That's
You
okay.
have to tell me how you did that.
Oh, I'm in I'm using a program called Ecamm. And so I made that with Keynote, and then like I can do all kinds of different stuff with Ecamm. Like right, I normally have I use my iPhone as a camera. I use my iPad as another monitor, but that way I can do a close up on my hand so I can have multiple cameras. I can
Nice.
do overlays, I can share websites, whatever. I can do all kinds of stuff. And I had a tip jar but it's gone. I don't know what happened to it. That's a bummer, man.
Where is
Swallow
it,
Hill
like a Venmo?
logo. There's my Swallow Hill logo coming in. So that's just swallowhill.com. But anyway, you can find me at purplemountainmusic.net. I'm on Facebook as Christopher Prokesh Compoz Sauthoff, which is all my. That's another story. We'll go there. That's another story. We'll talk about that in the next time. What I want to leave people with, I guess, is be nice to yourself,
Yeah.
right? It's a rough time. It's a hard time right now, and a lot of us get into negative self-speak, and it's really easy to do. And I find myself doing it a lot, and it's just something I have been having to bring up a lot in the mornings because I see people saying they're stupid. I hear people saying bad things about themselves, and it's not good. So be nice to yourself. It'll help you be nicer to other people. um, you know, be cool, take no shit, do no harm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, Black lives fucking matter.
It's the truth.
That's really fucking serious right now. You know, I'm at my wit's end with all of the craziness in the world, and I'm glad that we didn't really talk about that right now. But be
Yeah.
kind to each other, but be kind to yourself first. That's the most important thing. Is be good to yourself, pay attention to yourself, because our intuition is normally very spot on for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's when we've been gaslit so much as a nation, it's hard to trust yourself. You know what I mean? It's hard to trust yourself. So that's the other thing. Just trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your intuition, and be good to yourself. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You bet.
I'm I'm gonna go ahead and close this up.
Okay.